Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Every great TV villain believes in their cause, whether it's to provide a future for your family as you become a legendary meth dealer, bash people's heads in with a barbed wire covered baseball bat to survive the zombie apocalypse, or just to piss off Cliff Barnes. TV villains are why we watch TV. Sometimes bad TV, but TV all the same. Here's our favourite fact hunter, Neil, with 10 TV villain facts.
Thank you very much, Pav. So here we go. Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin from the Daredevil TV series, was modelled on a beefed-up Al Capone.
Excellent.
Tom from Tom and Jerry was originally called Jasper. Jerry was called Jinx.
Excellent.
Jack Gleason, King Joffrey from Game of Thrones, first appeared in Batman Begins.
Excellent.
Frank Sinatra originally wanted to play the Joker in the 1960s Batman TV series.
Excellent.
Only Fools and Horses villain Slater is played by Jim Broadbent, who originally was first choice to play Del Boy.
Excellent.
Negan from The Walking Dead was based off the American musician, actor, writer, TV and radio host and comedian Henry Rollins.
Excellent.
Bryan Cranston was allowed to create his own backstory for Walter White.
Excellent.
Leslie Grantham, EastEnders Dirty Den, served 10 years in prison, discovering a love for acting while incarcerated and starring in various plays put out for inmates and for the public as well.
Excellent.
And then we've got J.R. Ewing is considered one of television's most popular characters, with TV Guide naming him the number one in their 2013 list of the 60 nastiest villains of all time.
Excellent.
And first appearing on Doctor Who in 1963 with the catchphrase "Exterminate," the Daleks are considered one of the Doctor's most fearsome foes. They were even voted as the greatest monsters in the galaxy in 2010 by readers of the science fiction magazine SFX.
Excellent.
Thank you, Neil. God, have you had a drink? Have you had a drink?
Just a little.
Yes, we are
Just a
here
little.
to chat, to talk and count down.
Have you had a drink?
Our TV villains, top 10 TV villains, and we are joined from the TV Time podcast, Lucy Buglass. Hello, Lucy.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm so excited to do this podcast with you. It's kind of my thing, so it's going to be amazing.
Excellent. Now, I noticed we did do a little bit of tweeting earlier on, didn't we? We were saying about how you had changed your top 10 quite a few times. I think I messaged back and said I've changed mine at least half a dozen times today. Just in Neil's facts, there's a couple there that I thought, shit, I should have put them in.
Yeah, I think we've really been spoiled for like contemporary like villains on TV, and I think it's just so difficult. Like you said, I've changed mine a million times. I have the final list now, but it was tough.
It was a hard.
I would like to put in, but I didn't get the chance. So
yeah,
I found it hard.
What's been everybody's criteria for their villains? Now, I'll go say for mine. Some of them aren't necessarily massive villains, but they're people that really got under my skin watching the show or whatever it was, a show or whatever. One of the ones that I took out was Simon Cowell, and I don't know if anybody's got Simon Cowell, because to me, he's one of the biggest TV villains of the last 20, 30 years, just for what he's done to music. And I thought, but then I got a couple of other people. I thought, no, I'm gonna take him out. But he was someone that I genuinely thought. Is there anybody that you sort of thought about putting in that's a little bit left of centre, Lucy?
That's a really interesting question, because all mine are fictional.
Right.
I never really considered anybody non-fictional. There were some, like, in shows, like, I'm not going to spoil like what I'm going to bring up, but like things like Breaking Bad, for example, and things like The Sopranos, they have multiple villains. So
Exactly.
it was quite difficult to like, narrow down people that I really enjoyed. In terms of choosing them, I think it was quality of performance is a big thing for me. Like the style of acting, like, you know, if they scare me, if I'm convinced by them or even charmed by them in the case of some of them, then they've done a really good job, because they kind of want, you know, to kind of showcase what they think is correct or morally the right thing to do, even if it's not, and then they kind of want you to think the same, and it can be quite uncomfortable. So yeah, I think some of mine are quite cartoonish, some of mine are a bit more serious, so there's a bit of a mix going on for me.
Yeah. Neil, you said you were having trouble with your top 10.
I did. I went on which villains stuck in my memory the most. So I tried to write my top 10 without actually Googling anything, just from memory, from the ones that...
You Luddite, you.
Yeah, well, no, because to me, a top 10 should be the most memorable as well. The ones
Absolutely.
you remember the best.
Yeah.
And that's what I went for. And I mean, there were a few that I did change because I thought, hang on, no, I remember this one better and this one better. And hopefully I've got there. I mean, if we were to do this again next week, I'll probably have a different list altogether.
Yeah, I think that's like that with every top 10. Right.
Yeah.
Lucy, let's have your number 10.
Okay, it's funny actually, because you were using his soundbite literally like 20 seconds ago. I've gone for Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, purely because he's so iconic. You know, iconic catchphrases. He's a stereotypical old businessman in a big mansion, kind of, you know, bullies his like assistant, bullies his co-workers, that kind of thing. Megalomaniac. Like everybody knows who he is. So not only is he evil, but he's memorable. You know, it's exactly what Neil was saying. That's why I chose him.
Yeah, I've got him at number 6.
Yeah.
You got him at number 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, just basically exactly what you said, Lucy. He's an iconic villain, but he's actually a lot nastier than people give him credit for as well. I mean, stealing candy off a baby, he loves doing that, doesn't he? So, yeah, I think, and also very, very funny character. Harry Shearer does the voice so well, doesn't he? Is that right? He's left The Simpsons now.
I think he has.
Yeah.
The Simpsons, I did an episode on The Simpsons actually, but I'm a bit critical of the later seasons, I'm not going to lie. I kind of have like my golden era of Simpsons, you know. That's mainly for me, it's like 1 to 12 is like spot on. I don't know much about the more modern ones, but I do believe he's left, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird because Simpsons is one of those shows that I'll still watch episodes from the new series and you're still guaranteed to get 2 or 3 laughs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm the same as you, Lucy. I think the first maybe 12, 13, 14 seasons consistently funny, just really, really funny stuff. I'm not going to mention Mr. Burns for a minute, which gives a little bit away. Right. Neil, what's your number 10?
The Joker. Cesar Romero's Joker. This is basically stems from childhood. I used to absolutely love the 60s Batman. I used to watch it whenever I could get my hands to watch it, you know, because back in the day we didn't have any streaming, didn't even have a video then. We used to have to wait for BBC Two to show it. And he was always my favorite of the villains, you know, out of the Riddler and Catwoman and all of those. I just loved his campiness. Well, you know me, pal.
I do know.
Yeah, but he's just iconic, isn't it? Yeah, and probably the best Joker, to be honest. There you go, controversial.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I've got him at number 5.
Okay.
In my top 10 for that reason, that as much as that the 66 Batman or whatever you want to call it was camp, I thought he was really, really scary as a young kid. I thought he was especially with the fact that I thought he had something wrong with his top lip. I didn't realize it was the fact that he wouldn't shave his mustache off to be the Joker. So they just plastered the white makeup over his lip. And it just looked like his lip was like almost like Thanos's chin. It had like creases in it and it just made him look even more unsettling. And I didn't really know about the comic book of, you know, the comics of Batman, but I just thought he was fantastic. So over the top. You know, and so colorful and gaudy and like you say, camp. But I'm sort of with you. I think that he's like my favorite Joker. I think
he is up there, and the other Jokers like your Heath Ledgers and Jack Nicholson definitely stole from him. Definitely.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah,
you can see it. So yeah, he's got to be up there as probably the best Joker.
Yeah, no Joker for you in your top 10, Lucy?
No, I haven't seen any Joker on TV. I've only seen him in film. So
right.
I'm yet to kind of just discover this universe. I'm like, based on your kind of praise, I'm gonna have to seek that out now.
I would go on YouTube. I'm sure they've got full episodes on YouTube. I mean, it'd be really interesting to see what you think.
Yeah.
In regards to going like from the modern day Batman to that. whether it would just be too sort of kitsch and too,
Yeah.
you know, you sort of might maybe just roll your eyes at it, because it's I don't want to say it because I don't want to get loads of Batman like fans on my back, but it's some of it is really bad TV. It's like the terrible acting, but it's a thing of its time, and I think it's fantastic. I really do.
A true cult classic.
What I will say is, you were saying that it's quite a camp performance. There's nothing wrong with a camp villain. I think quite a lot of them are theatrical. So, you know, I mean, we still have pantomime villains, you know, things like, you know, Disney villains. They're very over the top, but they work. Yeah. No,
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. My number 10 is someone that Neil mentioned in his facts, is Roy Slater from Only Fools and Horses. One of the greatest ends of an episode was when Roy Slater does Del Boy up, and Del Boy gets him with a hooky microwave. If you've never seen it, it's fantastic. And then he did make a couple of other appearances as well, didn't he? But he was what I class as a classic villain. You know, he thinks what he's doing is absolutely right and justified. And if you look at it from a law point of view, he's trying to catch somebody that has broken the law. Simple as that. And he won't take, like, he's blinkered to that. But he's so sadistic in it as well. And the fact that he takes absolute pleasure in, like, in you know, getting one of his own old mates and getting him behind bars. So, yeah, so I've gone for that for number 10.
He was originally in my list. He was the one that I sort of changed. So
right, okay.
But he's an iconic villain, especially being a huge Only Fools and Horses fan. If anybody is, he's the only villain from it, really, isn't he? I mean, you've got other villainous characters, but he's
Boise is a sort of in certain episodes.
Yeah,
4 races. Anyway, Lucy, what's your number 9?
Number 9, we're kind of delving into Netflix territory now, because I do kind of want to have a look on Netflix shows. I don't know if you guys have seen You, but the guy from You, Joe Goldberg, is a bastard.
Yeah.
Essentially, he's the protagonist of the series, which is interesting because I believe that protagonists can be evil people. It's fundamentally true. But he basically stalks women and obsesses over them, and basically wants to get into relationships with them. And he's slimy, but he's very charming at the same time, and that's kind of what I was alluding to in the introduction. Like, villains that can charm me kind of scare me more, because I'm almost like kind of buying into what they're doing, even though it's horrendous. And I mean, you know, he kills people to get what he wants. Like, he's not a nice guy.
I mean, it's 2 series, isn't it now? I have watched
the
them
third
both.
one's coming out, which is really exciting in October.
Oh, is it? Because I found the second series better than the first. The first series I found very problematic, that nobody shut a fucking curtain.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's so far-fetched, it really is.
Yeah,
like,
if somebody had just drawn the blinds or the curtain, it would have all been over.
The second one's so much better, you're right. Yeah. It's a lot more of a compelling story as well, I think.
Yeah, I've not seen it, so I'll have to, I'll take your word for that. You will find out during a lot of our chat, and I'm sure a lot of the stuff that you, Lucy, and you, Neil, I don't watch a lot of this sort of television, I must admit. I tend to watch the same sort of things over and over again, so I will be going, I'll take your word for that on a lot of these, I'm sure. Neil, you're number 9.
Well, you've mentioned him, Simon Cowell.
There you go.
Yeah, for what he's done to modern music, for what he's done to chewing up and spewing out up and coming artists, I think is genuinely villainous. And the fact that he's I nearly said the C word then. The fact that he's
wrong episode, Neil. Wrong episode.
The fact that he's a complete knob as well just winds me up, and he's so self-satisfied and smug. Yeah, he needs bringing down a peg or two somehow. He really does. I'm just glad they're cancelling the X Factors, but I read somewhere that it's going. Or is it a long
time coming?
It's run its course. Let's get back to getting real music back out there. None of this. Yeah, he's earned enough money.
I can tell you the exact moment that because it never used to bother me. I used to think, okay, fair enough, if these young people or people that can't sing can get their 15 minutes of fame, that's great. But it was when is it Susan Boyle?
Yeah.
when it was Susan Boyle, and like everybody was laughing when she came on the stage, and because they were looking at this frumpy middle-aged woman, and then all of a sudden she started singing, and they showed the camera on Simon Cowell, and it was literally like a cartoon, and you could see the dollar signs in his eyes. He had this smile on his face, was like, I'm gonna make a fucking fortune out of this woman. I'm gonna make so much money. And he wasn't like smiling because you're singing enchants me. You could see in the back of his mind, it's like, we're going to make an absolute fortune. It's only going to last a couple of years, but we're going to make so much money. And that's what sort of like, really, I thought, no, it's, and then every Christmas it was an X Factor, and I love Christmas number ones. And then people stopped making Christmas songs because they knew what's the point.
Yeah. And now it's, if you do ever watch an episode of Britain's Got Talent or X Factor, it's so contrived. You can see on the first episode who's going to be in the finals. And shit like that. It's all pre-made out. It's just complete wank. It really is.
It is.
It's even like the auditions that bother me, because like they know fine well they're putting these people on so you can laugh at them.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, man. Like, you know, it's just taking the mick at this point. Like,
it's become a modern day freak show, isn't it? Sideshow.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really uncomfortable. It doesn't sit right with me.
No, I'm with you on that.
Then as the series goes on, people then, same as like with Big Brother, they think, right, I'll go there and be really shit, so I might get myself on TV. Whereas before they would just go because their mum said that they could sing, so they would genuinely go thinking that they're going to be a star. And it's like, it's fun. It just makes you feel shitty and negative, and Anyway, okay, my number 9 is Dirty Den from EastEnders. Now I don't know if either of you have got Dirty Den in your top 10.
Another one that I took out.
It's a good choice.
The thing is, it's like I haven't watched EastEnders for. I mean, how long did it was? It's mid 80s it started, didn't it?
84.
So so I probably haven't watched it for 20 years, probably. But when it was on and when it was Dirty Den, it was must-watch TV.
It was.
And, it used to be 2 or 3 times a week, whatever it was. But Lofty,
just 2, wasn't it? It was just Tuesday and Thursday, and that's
right, because Wogan used to be on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Oh, kids, look it up on YouTube. Watch Wogan on YouTube, especially the very first episode of Wogan when Elton John was on there and Terry Wogan tripped over as he went to go and say hello to Elton John. That was one bit. Anyway, he was just a classic bastard. He was just a classic nasty piece of stuff. But he also had that little twinkle in his eye. You could also see why women would fancy him and stuff like that, because
ladies of course did.
And ladies did. Indeed they did. So that's my number 9. Right then, Lucy, you're number 8.
Number 8, if you guys have seen Jessica Jones, you're going to know exactly who I'm going to say. Kilgrave. David Tennant's Kilgrave. Okay, just to start off, David Tennant is such a good villain. I'm just going to put it out there. Everything he does, he's been Des recently, Dennis Nielsen, he's been Barty Crouch Jr. But Kilgrave, there's just something about him. It's the charm, it's the seduction, the just sadistic nature of Kilgrave. It's magnetic. It's brilliant. Love it.
Just for people who haven't seen it, Lucy, explain what his powers are.
Oh, he can pretty much make you do whatever he wants you to. That's right, isn't it? So, there's one scene when he basically goes up to someone and says, "Throw that cup of coffee in your face," and they do. Just little sadistic things like that. He gets quite literally under your skin. And it's literally the power of manipulation to the point where people cannot say no. I don't really want to give away too much about him, because I think as it goes on, people haven't seen it, but God, it's terrifying.
I watched that, and I wasn't more worried about his powers. I was more like, God, what would I do with his powers? Because if you could go into a bank and just say, can I just withdraw, or just put all the money you've got into my account and just walk back out again. Or I think like he does in one episode, he goes into a house and just says to these people, you don't live here anymore. And they all just grab their stuff and just walked out. So he lived in the house. I agree with you. I think he's fantastic in that. I really do.
And such a good actor. I mean, his performance as Des, I thought was mesmerising.
What's that? Des Lynam?
About Dennis Nielsen.
Oh, I thought it was
Des Lynam.
Not quite.
Not quite. I'd have been
not that evil.
Okay, then. Right. Neil, you're number 8.
Probably people would have thought I'd put him higher, but Walter White himself. I know he's an anti-villain, really, isn't he? He's like a heroic villain. You're rooting for him, but everything he does is morally and everything wrong. Again, if nobody's ever seen the series, you don't want to say too much without spoiling it, because there's some real pearlers in every series, I think. Are you a fan, Lucy?
You love Breaking Bad, yeah. I mean, I would recommend it to literally anybody. I think with Walter White, though, you're right. I think he starts off being absolutely pathetic as well.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of, you have a lot of sympathy for him. You know, school teacher's got cancer, the healthcare system's gone to shit. But the more it goes on, the more you can't, sympathize with what he's doing anymore. You're like, you've gone too far now. It's kind of his decline throughout the series is incredible. Yeah,
it is. And he gets more and more sort of sadistic as well, doesn't he?
Definitely.
In the way he takes people out and things.
Yeah, he's my number 2.
Right.
I think Breaking Bad is one of the, if not the most perfect TV shows, in the fact that it didn't go on too long. 5 series and done. It's the fact that he gets seduced by the power of Heisenberg, and he loves the fact that he finally is someone. He isn't just being looked through. I think he isn't a classic villain, but he's somebody that becomes a villain as it goes on, and it's heartbreaking come the last. There's one particular bit, I can't remember which episode it is, and I won't say what it is, but there's one bit where I think that's where he turns to the dark side. Okay. There's one specific bit that I've watched it many times and think that's the bit where he stopped being Walter White and he became, Heisenberg for real.
I'm still shocked at the amount of people I've spoken to that have never seen it.
I know.
Crazy.
I don't know whether or not it's that thing, because there's a lot of time, like I'm the same with Peaky Blinders. Loads of people have said to me, you should see Peaky Blinders. It is amazing. And it makes me not want to watch it because so many people keep saying to me how great it is. And I got a funny feeling that Peaky Blinders is going to come up a little bit later, maybe.
Oh, no, not with me. Peaky Blinders is basically Sons of Anarchy in Birmingham. The storylines are nearly identical.
Okay.
Even with the theme tune, the slow motion walking constantly.
Oh, right.
That gets on my nerves in Peaky Blinders. They're always fucking slow motion.
You sure they don't? Are you sure they don't just walk slowly, Neil?
No. I've just, like I said, just watched Quiet Place 2, and Cillian Murphy moved at a perfectly normal speed.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Oh, so my number 8 is J.R. Ewing.
Ooh.
Pretty much in regards to how they're perceived as villains, very much like Dirty Den, in the fact that people of today probably wouldn't realize just how big Dallas was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I can remember, spoilers for a show that's 40 years old, I can remember the night that Bobby Ewing died. He got shot. He got shot, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got shot. He died. And I went up, and how old would I have been? I would have been...
So that would probably been about 84, I reckon.
84, I'd have been 12, 13, 14, probably. And I went upstairs to go and have a wee with tears in my eyes because Bobby Ewing had just died. And then it all went to shit the following season when it was found out to be all a dream. So it was ridiculous.
One of the worst bits of TV
writing absolutely ever. Ridiculous. But J.R. Ewing was a classic villain.
Bastard.
Yeah, and he didn't care about anything but the Ewing name and about oil, and he just wanted to destroy every single person in his way, whether it was male, female, other members of his family. He didn't give a shit. He just wanted to destroy everybody if they crossed his path. So a classic villain for me.
Do you remember when he was shot himself? The T-shirts that made front page media.
It was
Who shot JR.
I can remember the front page.
Yeah.
It was a picture of him on the floor going, oh. Well, you wouldn't have heard him going, oh, because it was a picture, obviously. But yeah, who shot JR? And then T-shirts and everything like that. Oh, it was unbelievable.
It was huge.
Okay, number 7 then, Lucy.
7 is it's Doctor Who. I've gone with the Master.
Okay.
Because every protagonist needs its antagonist, its counterpart. But specifically John Sim. as
Yep.
the Master. Like, I love John Sim as an actor anyway. I mean, I love Life on Mars. It's, great series. But he's just, again, it's charisma for me. Charisma, just, the presence, power. I love him. And God, I need to go back and watch the old David Tennant series with him in, because it was incredible. Like, those two were just, chef's kiss. Loved it.
Yeah. That another heartbreaking scene when he regenerates.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. Oh my God. Just makes, oh God, here we go.
And I think, obviously, big Doctor Who fans will probably be able to kind of talk about other Masters as well, because it's been going on for such a long time. And I just think just the name, the concept, the title, it's been going on for such a long time that it's never everyone's going to know who the Master is until the end of time, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he's the only other Time Lord, is that right? Isn't he? The Master?
Yes, I believe so.
That's where he's from, the Doctor Who's home planet, whatever that was called.
Gallifrey, isn't it?
Gallifrey. I was going to say Whoville, and I thought, no, that's not right, is it?
That's not right at all, Neil. Right then, Neil, you're number 7.
You may not know who this is, Lucy. Grot Bags.
No, I don't know who that is.
Right. Rod Hull and Emu. Do you remember them?
I know Emu, yeah.
Yeah, Rod Hull and Emu used to live in the Pink Windmill in the 80s. And
Lucy, bless your young heart.
I know.
I know Emu.
And Grotbags was the witch that lived next door, and she used to plague Rod Hull and Emu and all the kids with nasty business constantly. When she knocked on the door, there's somebody at the door. We used to sing along and open the door, and there'd be Grotbags, and we'd all scream. But it's a childhood thing. She was a villain in my childhood, and a big villain at that. But looking on it now, it's probably pants. But as a child, she was horrible. She was horrible, wasn't she, Pav?
She was. She
painted green as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, and she had like warts all over her face. Yeah. Google that one, Lucy. That's a sight for our eyes. That one. Okay, my number 7 is Nina Myers from 24.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I don't know if anybody else has seen 24, and I can't remember what year that came out, but it was just as mobile phones were starting, so it must have been
early
late 90s, early 2000s. But 24, it was the first, I think every series probably, but the first series especially was done in real time. So it was each hour episode was 1 hour of 24 hours in a day. And it was Kiefer Sutherland, CTU, I can't remember what else.
Counter-Terrorist Unit.
Thank you very much, Neil. Thank you.
It was a great series.
We watched the first episode and then decided that we were going to wait until it all showed on TV and then buy the box set, video on box set, because we couldn't wait a week. Because they used to put a cliffhanger at the end of every episode. And then it used to get too much. You think, no, we need to do it so that we can binge it. This was before binging was really a thing.
I think it was the original binge series.
I think it was, but it was unbelievable. And then, I mean, you've sort of given the spoiler away, really, because if you're going to watch 24 now, you'll see that Nina and Jack Bauer were friends. But what a twist at the end. Spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen a 20-year-old show. It's every series after that got a little bit like, bloody hell, Jack Bauer's one of the unluckiest people in the world because he's having another day like he had last year or like he had 2 years ago with terror, like worse than John McClane in Die Hard. But that's my number 7, because she was a nasty, nasty piece of work.
She was nasty indeed.
But I was thinking about maybe like rewatching it again, but with the fact that like all of the technology they would have at CTU then, I've probably got more technology in my little studio here than they had there back in 2000 or 1999 or whatever. And it's, so that's my number 7. Right. Number 6 for you, Lucy.
I mean, he needs no introduction, really, Tony Soprano.
Okay.
So I've only got into The Sopranos quite recently, shamefully. A little bit like people with Breaking Bad. Maybe it was the hype around it. I was kind of like, "Ooh, is it really that good?" Yes, it is that good. And I just think, because again, you kind of, he's funny in a way, and you have obviously, the thing with the ducks, and there's some comical elements to it, and some messed up elements to it. But fundamentally, he's not a nice person. And I think all the stuff that he does throughout the series is horrible. He's a horrible person. You know, he treats people like shit. He treats his family like shit. He'll just kill anybody. He wants to get whatever he wants, and he's a damaged guy, but he's brilliant. And obviously the way, you know, his story ends, it had to end that way, you know, a bit like Walter White, the way he goes out, you know.
No spoilers, because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, but like the way he goes out, just in general, it's not great. I'll leave it at that.
So, Neil, have you never watched The Sopranos?
I've seen an episode in the first series.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And it's one of the it's on my list to watch, but I've never. I know for a fact I'm going to get into it and have to binge it, so I sort of need to clear up a timetable to watch it.
Yeah,
it's so bingeable. Yeah,
I feel like I've watched the majority of it because I went down a YouTube rabbit hole where it was just like the top 10 kills in Sopranos, and then the top 10 lines in the Sopranos, and then the top 10 endings in the Sopranos. So I've watched like loads of clips of it, and it did make me. I will sit down. My wife keeps saying to me, "You should just sit down and start watching it." You know, because she said, you're like you, Neil, you'll get hooked and you'll want to watch it all the time. So yeah, it's not obviously in my top 10 because I don't want to. I'm assuming if I watched it, it'd probably be Tony Soprano would be in my top 10 because he looks like the sort of guy. He doesn't take any shit, I'm assuming, from anybody, does he?
No, and that's the thing though. Like, I don't want to ruin it too much for you guys, but it's very self-serving. It's not really about anybody else but him. He tries to pretend it is, but it's not really.
Right. Okay. Right, Neil, you've done your number 6.
Yeah, that was Mr. Burns.
So my number 6 is from the same show. It's Sideshow Bob.
Oh,
yes.
I just think with the fact that he is about as sadistic as they come, but it's only about one person. That's all he cares about: hurting and killing and maiming and killing again and scooping up the remains and then killing it again. And it's Bart. He's just got to try and get him. So yeah, and it's a fantastic design of a character. Kelsey Grammer does a fantastic voice, and I just think that anytime there's an episode with Sideshow Bob in it, it's going to be a fantastic episode. So
I still think the best Simpsons one with him in is the Cape Fear parody.
Yeah,
that bit when I first saw it with the rakes,
yes,
had me in stitches. I had to rewind it and watch it again and again and again because it was just pure genius comedy.
It is so good. It is so good. Yeah, so that's my number 6. Right. Has anybody else got Sideshow Bob before I move on?
Nope.
No? Okay, right. Your number 5 then, Lucy.
It's Crowley from Supernatural. Because he's the king of hell, so you know, what more can I say? And it's just, again, well, he's inhuman for a start. He's a demon, so he doesn't really care about humans to begin with, but it's just, he will just kill and belittle and torture and do whatever he wants to get his way, and he's a great character, but also very funny as well. So it's a bit uncomfortable. That's the thing with Supernatural. Even their villains are quite funny in a way. There's a lot of humor in that series. So even all the demons, that they're not traditional in the sense that they're not like kind of Insidious style demons. They're quite like charismatic and funny. And yeah, I love Crowley.
I've only ever watched the first series of Supernatural because I haven't been able to. I don't want to buy it, but I haven't been able to find the rest.
Yeah, I have it, which is the reason that, and I used to watch it when it was like on TV. I remember that much, but I don't know where it's streaming, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'd love to get back into it because I really enjoyed the first series. Because at the end of the first series, Jeffrey Dean Morgan rocks up.
Yeah.
Not as Negan, but
spoilers.
As his dad.
Spoilers.
Oh, it's not a spoiler.
Okay.
Right.
It's everywhere that Jeffrey Dean Morgan was his dad, isn't it?
See, now I always thought that Supernatural was just like a little stone's throw away from Twilight. I thought that's what it was supposed to.
Nothing like that. No.
Right, because that's what sort of moved me away from ever wanting to even look at it, because I thought that's what it was. Or am I thinking of, what's the other one?
Vampire Diaries.
Vampire Diaries. They're on the same network, so that's probably where you've got that from.
Right.
It's absolutely nothing like that at all, no.
Right.
I have to say, in the first series that I did watch, there's a few episodes that are proper chilling.
Oh, yeah.
Quite creepy.
When you say chilling, you're trying to be cool, as if like, it was chilling, man.
Spooky.
Oh, right, okay.
Genuinely scary, yeah.
Okay, all right then. Neil, you're number 5.
Moriarty himself.
Oh.
I was a fan. Growing up, I was a fan of the Sherlock Holmes books, so he was always the greatest villain. And then Andrew Scott came on and just blew me away with his deadpan almost cleverer than Sherlock himself. Again, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil, but
Yeah,
if you
don't
haven't
spoil.
watched,
Yeah.
if you haven't watched Sherlock, you need to watch Sherlock. I think it's one of the greatest adaptations ever done. The twists and the turns, and yeah, get and watch it. And Andrew Scott as Moriarty is a great villain. He really is cold. It's fantastic. And is he dead? There you are.
Oh, that's a spoiler there.
No, it's not.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, it's not.
Right, so there's a question then about Benedict Cumberbatch. Now, he's a fantastic actor. I think everyone will appreciate. But is he like just an inch away from being hammy?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he can be if he wants to be, but I think he's a genuinely good actor. When he fits into Sherlock so well, he makes it feel like he's got one of these disorders that people have, almost like Rain Man, where he's sort of almost back. I don't want to say backward, but you know what I mean. But really intelligent in other things. It's a great performance.
All right. So
he was a nasty villain in that Starter for 10, wasn't he? Movie. He was a shithouse in that with James McAvoy.
I can't remember that one.
Right.
So are you a Sherlock fan, Lucy? Because I must admit, I've watched I think the first 2 or 3 episodes of the first series, and that was it. I'm really got back into it.
Only in recent months, yeah. So a few friends of mine told me to watch it because of Andrew Scott. Like I'm a massive Fleabag fan, so obviously with him being in that, I've kind of started watching more of his stuff, and I agree, he's fantastic as Moriarty. Really, really good stuff. Again, I don't want to say too much, but it's just what a guy. he can play anything. He's David Tennant levels of great, in my opinion. Is Andrew Scott.
Yeah. What series does he turn up in Sherlock then?
It's got to be the second then, isn't it?
It must be the second one then, yeah.
Oh, right.
I haven't seen him yet.
Problem is, when you watch them on the streaming, they all just roll into one.
This is it, yeah. You just keep watching, and then you're like, hang on.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right, well, I've done my number 5, the Joker. So, Lucy, you're number 4.
Well, we knew he was coming. I kind of teased this on Twitter. Joffrey from Game of Thrones is number 4.
Okay, he's my number 2. Ooh,
yeah. Is he on yours?
He's not. No.
No.
He's not even in my top 10.
I think if we were to do a podcast which was just top 10 most satisfying deaths, I think Joffrey. Spoiler, sorry, Joffrey would be up there certainly, because you're just like, I just want insufferable character, horrible, sadistic. Everything that makes a kind of fantasy villain, and young too, which is a scary thing. He's so young, his character, but the things that he can do and the things that he wants is just, man, I hate him so much. Like he makes me visibly angry. Joffrey,
that's why I put him so high, because like you said, he made me angry watching him. And I know it's only a performance, but what a performance to get a feeling like that out of it. And what a complete turd he was.
And he's got a face that you just want to slap. Yeah. He's just got one of those kind of faces that you want to grab his ears, rip his head off, and kick it down the road, because he's just got one of those faces. Maybe that's a little bit too sadistic. I don't know.
No, I think he's one of the most sadistic characters in Game of Thrones, personally. I think he is probably the most sadistic. I think he's worse than that other guy that tortured Lily Allen's brother.
Well, that's my number 4. Ramsay Bolton is my number 4. Mainly, it's the same sort of reasons, because again, like you said, Lucy, earlier on, that there are certain shows that have got like not just one villain. I mean, you've got Cersei Lannister as well, that you could put in the top 10 as a villain. But Ramsay for me is somebody that just lives to hurt people and to kill people and to torture people. Whereas again, I think Joffrey, he's just doing, I think, what he thinks a king should do. He's got that power to do that. So he's not a nice king, obviously, but I think he's thinking that I'm doing what a king should do. Whereas Ramsay is just doing what the fuck he likes, and he's going to kill the Battle of the Bastards. When I can't remember what the name of, I think isn't it? He's running over the battlefield, and he just gets his like longbow out and kills him. And there's no reason to do that apart from creating a stir and creating a fight. So that's why I put him at number 4, because I think he's just a bit more of a bastard than Joffrey. But again, also got a very, very good death. you know, a death that was deserved and suitable for him. I think, yeah, getting his meat and two veg ripped off by a pack of wolves or whatever it was. Lovely. Right. So Neil, what's your number 4?
Doctor Who's Daleks.
Yes.
Stems from childhood. They used to bloody terrify me right from the day. Just as soon as you heard the name, you know, them coming in, and behind the sofa I went and peeked at them. And they still sort of give me that edge now. I know they've sort of dated and everything, but the new series, they can float, and their nemesis was Stairs in the old series, which makes them less villainous. But they were scary, weren't they? And the fact that they were controlled by those little, I don't know, parasite things inside the little weird alien mind things. Yeah, creepy as, but also they've got to be Doctor Who's number 1 villain, haven't they?
Yeah, I think I love what you said about the floating as well, because I remember the Christopher Eccleston episode when they come back and they do the whole running up the stairs thing, and then they float, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like when they upgraded them, you're like, oh no, now we're screwed.
Yeah.
They're just killing machines, though. That's what they exist to do. That's their primary function. They don't do anything else. That's it.
Yeah, just
they don't have any wants or desires. It's just kill things.
Yeah. And that's what a perfect villain should be. There should be no bargaining with a perfect villain. That's just what they're programmed to do. Absolutely. Right then, Lucy, you're number 3.
Number 3, it's quite a big series at the minute. The Handmaid's Tale. There's a million villains in the Handmaid's Tale. I mean, there's so many. But I've gone for Aunt Lydia, played by Anne Dowd, because Jesus Christ, like, I think I've chosen Aunt Lydia because of the fact that she's actually a woman as well. Which, you know, most of the villains in that series are men because of, you know, the obvious reasons. You know, they treat women like shit, but like she kind of revels in torturing them herself, and she's done some horrible stuff. Have you guys seen the series?
No, I haven't. No.
It's rough.
Oh, right.
It's very depressing, I'm not gonna lie. Very dystopian, but she's amazing. I mean, Anne Dowd's just an incredible actress. She's you know, but she acts as if she's like kind and like looking after these women, but like she actually, when she has to punish them, then you can tell she enjoys it, and it's just, it bothers me.
Is that a binge-worthy series? Would you call it a binge-in series?
I would say so, but you might want to watch something nice afterwards, because it's quite a lot of, obviously, you know, torture scenes, like rape scenes. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But the acting's superb, though. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the trouble is, it's like it's the sort of thing you can't really binge, because it's just going to put you in such a dark place, isn't it? That's the thing.
I've definitely binged it, but then, like I say, I have to have a bit of a break and then go watch something else and then come back.
Okay, then. Right, Neil, you're number 3.
Dwight Schrute from The American Office. He's a villain, isn't he? The way he just puts up. I mean,
would you say he's a villain?
Yeah, I would. I mean, look at the way he reacts to other people in the series. He buys the office block just so he has control over everybody who works there. When he's invited to invest in property, he changes his mind and he buys that whole unit just so he can turn down the temperature and annoy his fellow workmates. It's all doing that. And his banter with Jim and things like that is, he is a villain. I mean, he's a comedic villain, and he's probably one of my favorite characters in it. But yeah, he's a villain. I
don't know, because I think he genuinely loves Jim as much as he fights with him, and he's nothing but love for Michael.
Well, no, yeah, there is that. But the way he treats Moses, I mean, look at that. That's not very nice, is it?
Well, I mean, it's controversial, Neil. I'll give you that. I'll give you that at number 3. Okay. Right, my number 3 is from one of the greatest shows ever made as well, from Deadwood, Al Swearingen. If anybody's seen Deadwood?
No. See, I've heard of the guy though.
This is another one of those shows that, like, I don't understand why people haven't seen. It is basically like Shakespeare, but in the Wild West, and it is unbelievable. It's one of those shows that has got so much depth. Al Swearingen is one of those guys that you wish you could be.
Who plays him?
It's
Is that Ian McShane?
Ian McShane, yes, Ian McShane.
He's a villain in it, is he?
Well, he's yeah, he is. He's an anti-hero. He's one of those guys that says the sort of things that you wish you could say to people, acts the way that you wish you could act with people. Drinks all the time, shags all the time, but he's like one of the owners of he's the owner of one of the bars in Deadwood, which obviously is a real place in like mid-America where there's gold rushes and things like that. It's a fantastic show. The dialogue is very much like Shakespearean dialogue, the way that they talk. And it takes a little bit of, say, a couple of episodes just to tune your ear to that particular way of talking, because sometimes first couple of episodes you'll listen and think, what are they talking about? Why are they talking like that? But it's Timothy Oliphant's in it as well. And it's all based on real people that lived in Deadwood when they first started, like Wild Bill Hickok and these other famous names sort of come through town and stuff. I love it. It's a fantastic show. It's one of those shows where I'll finish it and then go back and start watching it again. And I would thoroughly recommend it. But yeah, he's an absolute bastard, but you sort of go, I love him. I really just love the guy. I love the way he is, and he's the sort of guy that if you worked for him or if he was a friend, you would love it. But if he was an enemy, you'd be shitting yourself every day. Yeah, he's that kind of bloke.
I'll put it on my list.
It's definitely one to go on the list. Okay, then, Lucy, you're number 2.
Number 2 might be cheating a bit. So I've gone from one of the Black Mirror villains. I know it's an anthology series, so he's only in one episode. But I've gone from Robert Daly from USS Callister because of the sadism to take DNA of your colleagues and put them in a simulation and just repeatedly torture them is bizarre to me. And again, when you're first introduced to him, he's supposed to be like the nerdy kind of, games developer kind of character, a little bit socially awkward, whatever. And he seems harmless, but he's far from harmless. And that's the scary thing with Robert Daly. Especially if anyone has seen it, again, spoiler alert, just everywhere, what he does to his bosses and kind of like, guy above him, his son, is just horrific. Man, it's just Charlie Brooker and his incredible way of crafting characters, to be honest with you, because how did he think that one up, honestly? Brilliant. That's a great episode. That's what's the actor's name? I'm blanking. He looks like Matt Damon, but he's not Matt Damon. No, he was in Breaking Bad as well, wasn't he? He was in Breaking Bad. Oh my god,
he's in a lot of stuff, isn't he? I can't think what his name is.
And Jungle Cruise. He was also in Jungle Cruise. I'm gonna have to look, because otherwise it's just gonna bug me now. Oh, it'll bug me as well.
I'm going to ask a question, Lucy. Did you not think Black Mirror finished brilliantly with the Black Mirror Museum episode? Those recent episodes with Anthony Mackie and Miley Cyrus, I thought weren't a patch on anything that the other series and episodes did. Not a patch. It was the weaker season. You're right. It felt like in a completely different series. It just wasn't very Black Mirror to me. Black Museum was absolutely fantastic, though. Yeah. That was a perfect end, wasn't it? Perfect.
Jesse Plemons.
That's it.
Apologies to Jesse Plemons.
Yes.
Forgetting his name.
Right. So we've both done our number 2s, Neil.
Yeah, King Joffrey for me, and what were you?
And it was Walter White for me. So Lucy, do you want to just do a rundown of your 10 to 2? Yeah. So remind people of what they were. Yeah. Right, yeah, so number 10 was Mr. Burns. Number 9 was Joe Goldberg from You. Number 8 was Kilgrave from Jessica Jones. Number 7 was The Master from Doctor Who. Number 6 was Tony Soprano. Number 5 was Crowley from Supernatural. Number 4 was Joffrey from Game of Thrones. 3 was Aunt Lydia from The Handmaid's Tale. And finally, Robert Daly from Black Mirror was in at number 2. Okay, Neil, your rundown?
So at number 10, I had the 1960s TV Joker. Number 9 was Simon Cowell. Number 8 was Walter White. Number 7 was Grotbags. Number 6, Mr. Burns. Number 5, Moriarty. Number 4, the Daleks. And then we had number 3, controversially, Dwight Schrute. And then number 2, King Joffrey.
Okay, and I had number 10, Roy Slater from Only Fools and Horses, 9, Dirty Den from EastEnders, 8, JR from Dallas, 7, Nina Myers from 24, 6, Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons, 5, The Joker from the Batman TV series, 4, Ramsay Bolton, Game of Thrones, 3, Al Swearingen from Deadwood, and 2, Walter White, Breaking Bad. So, Lucy, what is your number 1 TV villain?
Oh God, I sat on this for ages. It was so hard choosing, but I love Sons of Anarchy. So I've gone with Gemma from Sons of Anarchy, because that twist, though, it's ruined the whole series for anybody who hasn't seen it. But like what Gemma has done and what Gemma has done throughout the series, when you find out, is horrific. You know what I mean? She's awful.
Yeah.
And she spends the whole series pretending that she cares about Jackson, pretending that she cares about Clay, but she doesn't really. It's just pure manipulation, and not only does it fool the characters, but it fools us as an audience. Because I love Katie Sagal anyway, but it's just I was in shock. I was like, no way, is she evil? She can't be. No. And again, her death was satisfying at the hands of Jax as well.
It was a clever little bit of like you're looking over here while all of her stuff is happening over there, because you're looking at Clay and you're thinking what a bastard he is, and Jax and all that, and you're thinking, yeah, and then you have no idea. You're not even looking at what's going on over there. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one.
Brilliant misdirection from that series.
Yeah, a good one.
Yeah,
okay,
great.
Neil, you're number 1.
Edmund Blackadder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he is a villain. I mean, all right, we all root for him. If you go back to series 1, he was a complete and utter villain. And then he got weaker and weaker. But everything he does is for his own gain. He wants to make money. He wants to get rich quick scheme, everything like that. He doesn't really care who he stands on to get there. And especially the way he treats poor old Baldrick with his cunning plans. So, yeah, Edmund.
Didn't even think of that one. Yeah, all through the ages, he's been
a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
He's been more. He gets more cunning as the series goes on. I think.
Because if you think about it, the first
he's an idiot in the first. He's an idiot in the first.
And it's the Baldrick that is the brains behind it all, and obviously the best series for me is the second one, where he's the brains and Baldrick becomes the smelly simpleton. But
I've always looked at it. They've got a 100% brain between them, but they have to share it. So in the first series, like Baldrick's got 95% of the brain and Blackadder's got 5%. And as they go on through the series, it goes like 50-50, then 25-75 the other way. And they've just got one perfect brain, but between them.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Neil. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Well done. My number 1 is someone that was mentioned earlier on, Montgomery Burns. I think is my number 1 TV villain. Even in the episodes where it looks like they'll show his little withered heart pumping, or maybe just one little pump, just to show that it is still working. He's just he's just evil. You know, he doesn't care who he sets his hands on. He doesn't care how he treats his workers, how he treats other people in Springfield. He just doesn't care. So for me, he is the ultimate villain.
When he loses all his money and rebuilds it with Lisa, and they're supposedly doing this environmentally thing, but he's worked out how to catch fish with the beer rings. I mean, he's still purely evil, isn't he? Until he goes for his treatment. I bring you love.
Yes.
That's the only time.
The X-Files episode.
Yeah, which is one of the greatest episodes.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, that's the only time he's not a shit house, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't have any redeeming features at all, does he?
No. And that's why I think he's, well, to be honest, with all the top 10s, I'm surprised with how little amount of duplicates we had. I really thought that we were going to get a load more duplicates, but there were only, Montgomery Burns, Walter White, the Joker. There's only a couple that we had, so I'm very surprised with that.
Yeah.
But there you go. So Lucy, you've just got back from Fright Fest. Was it Fright Fest you got back from?
Yes.
How was that?
Oh, it was brilliant. I think, just off the bat, like just being in the festival setting again was incredible. Like I've genuinely forgotten how to socialize because we've all been stuck, you know what I mean? So people were coming up to me and I was like, oh my God, but like, just seeing people again was amazing. People from all over the country coming to Fright Fest, so it was just lovely. Like Twitter, there's so many amazing people on Twitter that, are into horror. So I've met new friends through that. The films were incredible. The highlight for me was a Kazakhstan horror comedy that was like Carry On with a Lot of Blood. Brilliant stuff.
Right up my alley.
I never thought I would say a horror comedy from Kazakhstan would be my favorite, but hey, they've surprised me. Exceptional stuff. Oh, brilliant festival. It's one of my favorites. I'm so happy to be back.
That's
one of the festivals I should go to, really, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly, like everyone's so welcoming as well. Like it doesn't matter like who you are, where you're from, what kind of horror you like. It's the best place. It really is.
Wow. And tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Yeah, of course. So my podcast is TV Time, spelt like the drink. And the premise of it is basically people come on to talk about their favorite TV shows or a TV show that they've seen recently that they liked. And we talk about their favorite drink as well. So it's essentially just having a cuppa or sometimes a beer or whatever, and then just talking about TV. And I did it because lockdown was quite a lonely time, I suppose. And I was kind of missing conversations, and it's what I would do anyway. I would go to the pub and I'd talk about TV with people. So it was essentially filling that hole in my heart, but it's become like people are loving it and I'm really grateful for that. And I've had some amazing people on it. I think our best episode is Come Down With Me for some reason.
Oh, right.
I mean, it was a brilliant episode. I mean, my guest Alex was amazing on that. But the things people bring and the insights and the anecdotes, it's just, I absolutely love it. It keeps me occupied.
Well, I'm sorry, we've probably not knocked out the chances of you getting Simon Cowell on your podcast now. It's completely gone down the shitter. I'm sorry about that. Right, Neil, do you want to just give everybody your spiel to let everybody know where they can find us and stuff?
Of course I will. You can find us on all the social medias at Top10Pods. That's TOPTEN pods. Email us at toptenpods@hotmail.com. And you can come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/top10pods, where you can get rewards such as our episodes super early, bonus episodes, behind the scenes videos, and even a chance to be a guest on your own episode. Then check out all our links via the link tree. You can find the link in the show notes below. And please, please, please come and subscribe and leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, or subscribe and follow on Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Beautifully done, Neil. And we will also put the link to Lucy's podcast in the show notes as well. So please have a listen to that. Lucy, thanks for spending some time with us. That was loads of fun.
Oh, thank you so much. That was incredible. And like you said, I'm just so happy there wasn't too many duplicates. We spoke about so many cool things. So it was amazing.
I know. I was genuinely thought, because I've got a little sound bite for when we get the same number one with, you know, if all three or everybody that's in the podcast. And I don't know whether I'll ever get to press it, but I was just surprised. I really thought that I might get a few Mr. Burns tonight, but obviously not. But there you go. You know, that's the beauty of it, is that we don't know. And like I say, do the same podcast next week. Could be completely different top tens. It just depends on how we go. Thank you, Lucy, once again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lucy.
Oh, it was a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, my friend.
Go and have another drink and calm those nerves.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. Let's start the countdown.
10.